Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, FPL Consult here, and today we're going to take a look at my Game Week 28 team selection. So as usual, we're going to go through how I did in Game Week 27, talk you through a bit of my thinking going into Game Week 28, and show you how my team is looking like set up for the double game week for Bournemouth and Luton. So hopefully you guys do enjoy this video. If you do, please drop a like and also subscribe as well if you are new around here. So talking a bit about how I did in Game Week 27 before we jump into my double Game Week 28 team, I got a very small red arrow, about 5k places dropped. So I'm at 189k in the world right now, roughly around the area that I can still kind of attack the doubles and blanks moving forward so that I can break into the top 50k hopefully. The strategy for my team is still to stick to the Game Week 31 wild card as well as the free hit in 34 and then the bench boost in 37. So I think for my team until game week 31, right, basically for the next 3 game weeks, game week 28, game week 29 as well as game week 30, my team would be slightly suboptimal in efforts to save the free hit for game week 34 basically, right? So that will cause my team to basically not look as good as how maybe wildcarding right now would look like, but I think there are gains to be made later on by saving the chips for then. So taking a couple of hits now, I'm not averse to it. So for now, I think I'm at 189k. I think we're all right, but hopefully in the few weeks coming up, we're able to just maintain this rank and then push forward after the chips are being used. Right, so 76 points, mainly the scorers for my team, as with a lot of other players as well. The attackers have been pulling the weight, right? So Watkins with a 13-pointer, he scored really well, two goals, especially in a game where I don't think we were expecting him to get so much, right? Because Luton away supposedly was a slightly tougher fixture, but I mean, Luton of late have not been looking the sharpest at home, even though earlier in the season at home they looked like a really good side, right? But off late, a thumping by Manchester City, and then of course now by Aston Villa, 3-1 scraping through it. So Watkins with 2 goals there. Haaland 6 points. He missed a sitter from 1 yard out, which was a clear open goal. Had he used his head to finish the chance instead of his foot, I think that is a double-digit haul for him already, right? So fine margins again, and I think Erling Haaland could be leaving my team. Just a bit of a spoiler as well, right? So Palmer, Foden, Saka, and Son all returned. Foden, of course, with a stellar performance, 15 points, so 3 bonus for him as well there. Pascal Gross was slightly disappointing, but there was some news that he picked up cramp towards the end of the FA Cup game that Brighton lost to Wolves. Therefore, he didn't start the game, but he did finish the game. He came on for a 1-pointer because at the end, Brighton still lost 3-0 to Fulham. Right, so expecting quite a bit from him there actually, but for him not to return, I guess I have to take it on the chin, and hopefully he will start to pay off again come the next few game weeks, which is when I think will be the last few game weeks he'll be in my team. And then in defense, 1 point for Konza, 2 points for Walker, Van Dijk with the clean sheet. For Walker, of course, his clean sheet was wiped out by a really brilliant strike from Marcus Rashford, so I can't complain too much there. For Konza, they conceded 2 goals against Luton, slightly sloppy goals as well. Right, so I was actually hoping Konza and Walker would keep clean sheets to kind of help me to pit myself against those people with those managers with Arsenal defenders, but of course Arsenal went on ahead to get clean sheets and Konza and Walker blanked. So I am that is pretty much where I lost out, and that's why I got the red arrow. And then for Dubravka as well, I chose the keeper that actually got the clean sheet, so 7 points from Dubravka. I can't complain. But Areola, of course, came away with a penalty save and also quite a number of saves from open play as well. So at the end of the day, I feel like the decision to start Dubravka ahead of Areola was correct. The outcome, obviously, Areola outscored Dubravka because he saved the penalty and got maximum bonus. Right, so there we go. I think just one thing to mention as well, Reguilon playing against Chelsea managed to get 4 points. So I actually had Konza not been back fit, I may have gotten an extra 3 points. That could have been a green arrow instead of a red, but it is what it is. So this is my score for Game Week 27. Let's take a look now at my Game Week 28 team. So for game week 28, this is roughly how my team would look like. So basically, I've made 3 transfers, or rather, I've planned 3 transfers. So Walker to Doughty, Van Dijk to Jabani, as well as Haaland out for Solanke. So you heard that right, Haaland out for Solanke. So firstly, talking about these 3 transfers, one transfer has already been confirmed and locked in. So Doughty in for Walker is a move that I've already made before Doughty rose in price. So he's already in my team. As for Van Dijk to Zabani and Haaland to Solanke, it has not been made yet. It's not a move that has been confirmed because I want to wait a little while more for the press conference by Andoni Areola before I move for the Bournemouth players. Because obviously Bournemouth has the better double in game week 28 as compared to Luton. Right, Sheffield at home and Luton at home is arguably the best double game week that any team can have this season. So I definitely have to load up on some Bournemouth players. And for this week, it's at the expense of a -8 hit because I'm going in cold here with no Bournemouth players in my Game Week 27 team. So I definitely had to take a couple of hits here. So a -8 for Game Week 28 would get me to this team with only 3 doublers. So not as many as maybe some other FPL teams have. But I think this is the bare minimum. Doughty from Luton, Solanke from Bournemouth, and then one Bournemouth defensive asset, whether it's Neto or Zabani or even both, at least one defensive asset because defensively those fixtures also look very good for clean sheets as well. So these 3 players I think are the bare minimum, and that's pretty much what I would go with in Game Week 28 in terms of doublers. And for the rest of my team, they would all be single Game Week players. So the reason why I've not taken too much of a hit as well is because I don't think there are a lot of players outside of the ones that I've gone for that are worth a -4 hit as compared to the players I already have in my team, right? So arguably you could say maybe I could remove Foden, who has Liverpool away now. He blanks in 28 and then has Arsenal in 30. But then which midfielder would I go for from Bournemouth or Luton that I'd be so confident outscores Phil Foden? Maybe against Liverpool, I still think that Foden could get something there, right? So I feel like I'm only willing to take a hit insofar as these 3 players are concerned, right? So a -8 hit here, and then later on in the next section, I will show you guys how my team is likely to navigate the next few game weeks as well. So game week 29 and game week 30 in particular, before we wildcard in game week 30. But as I mentioned, wildcard in game week 31, right? But as I've mentioned, for game week 28, for 29 as well as 30, it would be slightly suboptimal because if I'm saving the chip, I am making some compromises here. So of course, some players here, like maybe, Foden has Liverpool away. If I was on a wild card, it could be Bowen here, right? Pascal Gross wouldn't be in my team if I was on a wild card. Maybe I go for another, like a James Maddison or something in preparation for blank game week 29, right? So couple of differences, and maybe Konza playing Tottenham at home in game week 28 also not the best, but these are the compromises that I have to make in order to stick to my chip strategy. And I think overall in the grand scheme of things, these points can be made up later on as well. So for now in game week 28, again, this is how my team is likely to look. It's a 3-5-2. Burnley at home for Areola. In defense is Zabani, Doughty with double game weeks. Konza has Tottenham at home. In midfield, it's Palmer, Foden, Pascal Gross, Saka, and Son. Now on paper, this is a really strong midfield. Barring a couple of difficult fixtures, maybe Aston Villa away is not super easy for Son. Liverpool away is definitely not the easiest fixture for Foden as well. But for the rest of the midfielders playing at home, I think they could definitely get something there. And then up front, it's Solanke, captain, not going to go anywhere else with captaincy this week. And then Watkins, Tottenham at home. Right. So on the bench, I have Dubravka, Tony, Taylor, as well as Reguilon. All of them are lying in wait for game week 29. Right, so let's take a look now at the transfer tinkering tool where I'll share with you guys a bit of my plan going into blank game week 29 and game week 30 as well. So for game week 28 on the transfer planner here, this is my team exactly as shown in the graphic just now with the 3 changes made already. So Zabani, Doughty and Solanke as my only double game week players for game week 28, and this is already bearing in mind taking a -8 hit. Alright, so as we move forward into game week 29 now, you will see that I have quite a number of players with fixtures already, and this is obviously because of the preparation that I've made to kind of navigate blank game week 29 with free transfers. So if I sub in all my players with fixtures, into my starting 11. So let me just go ahead and do all of that. Sub all the players with fixtures into the starting 11. Right, so basically in the starting 11 right now, I have Areola, I have a back four of Reguilon, Doughty, Konza, and Taylor. In midfield, I have Son as the only player for now, and then up front it's Tony and Watkins. So as it stands, going into Game Week 29, without making any transfers yet, I already have 8 playing players. Right, so Saka, Gross, and Foden, the only ones without fixtures here. So talking about my planned moves for Game Week 29, I'm actually I'm lining up quite a bit of a differential move in selling Solanke for Muniz from Fulham, right? For a couple of reasons. I think he could be quite a good differential in Game Week 29 because, yes, he does have Spurs in Game Week 29, but I think with the form that Fulham are in, I definitely think they could get something at home against Tottenham, who aren't also defensively super watertight in terms of defensive structure. And then, of course, he has Sheffield away in game week 30, which kind of would put me in a situation where I would have quite a good differential as well. And obviously, I'm not very keen on selling players like maybe Saka, Palmer, who I already got at a very, very cheap price, right? So I'm not too keen on selling them, and I'm more alright to sell Solanke because the only fixture I would really be giving up on is the Game Week 30 fixture against Everton, which I don't really think Solanke scores super well as well. So I definitely take Muniz with Tottenham at home in Game Week 29 as well as Sheffield away in Game Week 30. Right, so assuming I do bring him in, this would be for that one free transfer in 29. I am likely also still to take a hit in Game Week 29, but just one hit now, right? And that's to sell Pascal Gross for Jarrod Bowen, right? So making these two transfers, right, Pascal Gross out for Bowen as well as Solanke out for Muniz, I am going to get to a team of 10 playing players, right, with only Phil Foden in the 11 right now that doesn't have a fixture, right? So taking a -4 hit would get me to 10 playing players, and this is likely how I plan to navigate blank Game Week 29. So essentially, I've already taken I'm planning to take a -8 hit now in 28 and a -4 hit in 29. In totality, it seems like a lot of hits, which I do agree, right? And 12 points is quite a number of points, and taking into account as well the suboptimal teams that I'm having at the moment, maybe a couple of players that don't have really good fixtures, I could be maybe losing out on slightly more than 12 points, right? I would assume that overall it could be 20 points, but I also do think that going into game week 31 onwards, my team would be very well set up for the future game weeks that I could be with an optimal team or close to optimal from game week 31 onwards. So this is, again, the compromise that I think I'm going to make, as well as kind of having at the back of my mind that I may take a couple of red arrows for the next few game weeks. So we'll see what happens. If we're able to just stay in and amongst the rank that I'm at for the time being, I wouldn't be too displeased as well. Right, so going into game week 30, also lining up a rather differential move in game week 30, and it is to bring Salah in, right? Because come game week 30, Salah should be fit already. He's supposedly rumored to be back in training already. By game week 30, we would see whether he's fit and available. But the plan is to sell either one, right, of Saka or Foden for Salah, because we'll have loads of money in the bank. For now, he is still flagged, but assuming we're able to do it, I can bring Salah in, and he would likely be quite a bit of a differential come game week 30. So if I do kind of set up my team a little bit as to how it's likely to look for game week 30, making these transfers already, right? So, I mean, assuming, let's say we go to Bravka here, right? Reguilon, Zabani, and Konza in defense, Son, Palmer, Bowen, and Salah in midfield, as well as the Muniz against Sheffield fixture, and then Tony against Manchester United and Watkins against Wolves, right? So it's a bit crazy to bench Saka, but he does have Man City away, right? And the rest, I think it's fine to bench. Taylor is Chelsea away, Doughty is Tottenham away, right? So maybe I find a way to fit Saka into the team, but we'll see what happens. But essentially, game week 30, I can navigate it with free transfers. I just bring Salah in as a differential, right? So come game week 31, that will be when I plan to use my wild card, right? So again, coming all the way back to game week 28 now, this -8 hit Zabani, Solanke, and Doughty in, I think is likely what I'm going to go with. Let me know how many double game week players you have. I only have 3, but I'm sure a lot of you guys are more well set up for the double game weeks. Let me know how many players you have as well as the transfers you are planning to make. But if not, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please drop a like and also subscribe as well if you are new around here, and I'll catch you guys in more Game Week 28 content very soon. Bye bye.